Mexico is beautiful. It is simply the most beautiful country in the world, and I am very sure that any Mexican at here will think the same. And anyone who say it isn't, they it can be called Mexican. Mexico has nothing to envy to any country, since we are rich in diversity, cultural, natural, gastronomic, etc. In Mexico, we have everything. That's why for me it is the best country there is, and I love it. Since Japan was the country I decided to talk about, I will compare it and talk a little about the cultural difference between these two great countries, since Japan is one of my favorite countries. Mexico is predominantly Catholic state, 80%, while Japan has several creeds, most called themselves Shinto and Buddhist, 70%, but they have no problem with other beliefs. Food. The cuisine of Japanese country is famous throughout the world. Sometimes that is considered to a less extent with Mexico. However, Mexican food is also known and praised throughout the world. Sushi and other similar dishes have raw food, something not so typical in Mexico. However, one of the clear differences regarding the way of eating between these two people is based of calories and the healthiness of meal. The Japanese have a percent of adults with very little overweight with only 3.5%. On the other hand, Mexican ascend this date up to 70%. The fulfilled recipe of Mexican contrasts with the healthy soup, fish and seafood from Japan. Although I'm going to prefer Mexican food a thousand times if I think we should imitate Japan food good habit. Smoke. Physical weight behind inappropriate for the rules of the Western state, and cigarette consumption is strictly regulated. It is only possible to do it in certain special places with risk of several penalty. Opposite Latinos are allowed to smoke in many more areas, despite being able to spread to toxic and smoking fatal smoke to other side, which I think we should imitate from Japan since smoking should be penalized. The use of space in Japan they are very respectful. Do not make noise, do not little take care that I looks clean. However, in Mexico we do not have that culture we should have about not throwing garbage on the street and keep the city clean. Time. In Mexico we are extremely unpunctual. We are used to being late everywhere. We will should speak to respect the time of after and learn to be punctual as in Japan. Another great difference is the interaction with people. In Mexico, we are extremely friendly. We get along with anyone and we are close. We hug, we greet each other with kisses. We don't care about physical contact, but in Japan, physical contact is something that rarely seen since they are very rigorous with that. In Mexico, we must tip because it is not seen as lack of respect for the service received, and in Japan, on the contrary, we should not tip because it is disrespectful to do so. In both countries, we are beautiful traditional clothes. And although in Japan they are more careful with the that, but clothes we can wear by foreigners without the permits began offend, as long as it's with respect, of course. One of the things that I most consider that in Mexico we should apply is the importance that we give to education. In Japan, students we go to school on Saturday. It is they who clean their classroom. They have a high respect for the teacher, and that they have a good education is of the utmost importance to everyone. So they have excellent and the best doctor, engineers, etc. of the world. Both are countries rich in culture, history, will, and tradition, and are places that should be recognized for how incredible they are.